Hi, in this video we'll be discussing about types of system. So when it comes to the system, as we have understood that any area under our consideration or study, we call it as system. So these systems are classified into three different types. One is the open system, second one is closed system, and third one is isolated system. See, when it comes to this open system, the mass and energy transfer takes place across the boundary of the system. For example, you can consider a pipe in which fluid is flowing as an open system. We will be considering an imaginary boundary in that particular case. Then you can take all engineering applications like nozzle, the turbine, piston cylinder arrangement with valves. So piston cylinder arrangement with valves. So these can be considered as the examples of open system. When it comes to this closed system, so in case of closed system, mass transfer will not take place across the boundary of the system, whereas the energy transfer can take place across the boundaries of the system. So the best example for this you can consider a piston cylinder arrangement without valves. A piston cylinder arrangement without valves can be considered as an example of the closed system. Whereas when we come across this isolated system, in case of isolated system, neither mass nor energy transfer takes place across the boundary of the system. So therefore, you can consider the example of isolated system as an universe, because whatever are the interactions that usually takes place between the system and the surroundings. Okay, so if you consider system plus surroundings together as a system, then it is taken as universe, which is an isolated system. So neither mass nor energy transfer takes place across the boundaries of the system when we consider an isolated system. So practically speaking, isolated system will not exist. See, there is a misconception, or there is a simple misunderstanding among the students that, see, this isolated system and insulated system are same. See, try to remember that isolated system doesn't have mass transfer nor energy transfer, whereas when we consider an insulated system, practically speaking, there is no perfect insulator. See, after some time, what is going to happen, if you pour some hot water or coffee or tea in a thermos flask, see, after some time, if you observe that the temperature of that fluid will get reduced. So this is because the insulating material also consists of certain thermal conductivity, and because of that, the heat transfer that is taking place across the boundary of the system will be slow. Whereas if you consider an ideal insulated system or perfectly insulated system, then we consider that heat transfer is equal to 0. Then we assume that heat transfer is equal to 0 if we consider a perfect insulated system. But practically speaking, there are no such systems that exist. Okay, so try to remember about these types of systems. There might be some questions that will be asked from this part also.